#1 event, North America, again, the Spruce Meadows. Coming in at an amazing 96% this year. Again, every year it improves. This year, $2.5 million in prize money, an additional meter 45 Derby series, new hosting facilities. They hosted not one but 2 Nations Cups this year. They've become a part of the newly developed Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping, and their ability to secure sponsors is just unparalleled. They, with CN going out, they announced last year at the Masters as the new sponsor of the Grand Prix for 1.5 million Canadian Pacific. And I can personally say that Spruce Meadows has been a huge help in my career, and I think it's also been a big reason for the success of many of the North American riders. We have some of whom are here tonight in our sport today. Spruce Meadows provides everything that NARG is hoping for from a competition. Top sport, media to promote the sport, fans to watch and get hooked on the sport, sponsors to support the sport, fantastic venues with great footing, and all this combined with a place for our young horses and our young students to get the experience of competing at an international level. All this was a vision of one, and I say this with great fondness, hard-headed and determined couple, Ron and Mark Southern. We owe them and the Spruce Meadows family of staff, volunteers, and sponsors a big thank you. For many years, they have welcomed me to Spruce Meadows, and now it is my honor to welcome them, and among his many other titles, Spruce Meadows co-chairman Ron Southern to accept the award.
Thank you, Beezy. Thank you, Murray. This is so meaningful to Mark and I, to Linda, Nancy, and now I'm so proud to have young Ben here with us from our family in what is becoming a generational tradition. Thank you so much for inviting us today, and thank you so much for this award. I am most impressed, and I mean that genuinely, with the work that you've done here in NARG, to not only do this for the United States, but to bring Mexico and Canada into it. But I think the thing that, if you'll allow me to digress a little bit, when these reports come out, I know that at Spruce Meadows, it's like the auditor's report. And indeed, that's how the items are treated. When Linda's going over her budgets, her CapEx budgets and operational budgets, top of the list are the recommendations of your committee. And why wouldn't they be? You've experienced it, both good and bad, throughout your careers and around the world. And when you come to a venue and say it would be better if you did it this way, of course it would be, or at least in the vast majority of cases it would be. And where can you get that? Only from you. And have the foresight to establish this organization to do that will not only, I can tell you, it's helped us immensely, but I think there'll be others who will be your winners in the future. And that's how it should be. Because what you're doing, and I know that Linda often says this, Ben, I mean, if you're going to have sport competition, you have to, at the top, really put it on well if you want the horses and the riders to improve, to get better. The same thing applies to venues, ladies and gentlemen, it seems to me. If you don't mind, I'll just rest here for a minute. No, that's good. If you don't strive, it's like your own career, everything that you do. You know that. And but to have an organization of respect, which you represent, not only provide the recommendations, but do it in such a graceful and considerate manner, that is very, very unique. And I'm sure that every one of the tournaments gradually at least is, what's happening here? Somebody just shot me. I understand it's time to stop talking. Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, I really got started. Anyway, I would like to thank the North American Riders Group, and the board of directors. Congratulations, all of you. It's not so easy to take that time, in addition to what you do, to in a self-actualizing. You know what self-actualizing is, ladies and gentlemen? It's when you do something not for your own benefit. And okay, maybe generally it's to your benefit, but what you're actually doing is you're doing it for others. That's a very rare trait, and my compliments to each and every one of you. This is a very special thing that you do for us. All around Calgary and the media and around it. And we pictures of Ian and Linda, their happiness, and all the people of Spruce Meadows. Yeah, well, it's a hell of a lot better than Denver did, and it brings a sense of pride and worthwhileness to the efforts that go on. And there are immense amount of efforts, speaking of Spruce Meadows. You know, many of you would know this, but I think the total permanent staff that works year-round to deliver this product to you is 183, Mark?
140.
How much?
143.
143? 143 people full-time. Well, when you stop and think about that, that's a pretty good effort going on about once a year. And then there's many temporary people during the summertime for 5 or 6 months. And I think about 500 genuine volunteers. It includes doctors and bus drivers and all of that type of thing. So when they get an award like this, it really, and I speak for myself here, it really, I've had many awards in my life, but something like this coming from you is really so very, very special. Thank you for it, Mary. Thank you very, very much. But I think when I look around the room and see so many people who have become friends over the years, some more than others, I don't mean it like that. I can, without reservation, say that I feel that I'm a friend with each of you. And what I meant is that not everybody is able to participate to the same degree. But one of the remarkable things about Spruce Meadows, and looking back on it, is how many people have helped Spruce Meadows in small and large ways alike. Not so many on the large, because it's people aren't there all the time. How many of you were in the writers' meeting when I talked about the Wolverine? Well, this will give you a good example of how people contribute. Many athletes have arrived at Spruce Meadows with a reputation for being troublemakers or having certain personal habits that might not be what you like. So on one of the writers' meetings, were you there, Miriam? I told them about a particular animal that lives in the north of Canada called the Wolverine. And he's really a very different thing. Very ferocious, has a huge hunting area, and whenever he comes across a cabin, a miner's cabin or a native cabin, they have very large claws, and there's food there. They break into the cabins, they take everything. In Russia, this same animal exists. It's known as the glutton. So the glutton, he eats everything there. And then, before he leaves, I use the right word? Okay, I'll use the glutton, the Wolverine. After he's eaten everything, he pees all over, he urinates all over the whole cabin, and it makes it uninhabitable for anyone else after. That's true. When I told that to the riders, I got a great reaction. And occasionally a Wolverine shows up at Spruce Meadows, and I hear that story, and I can tell you the behavior and the uplift that those very people bring to Spruce Meadows is remarkable to me. And that's what I mean, and people in small and large ways can help a venue, can help our sport. It's also true, Murray asked me if I'd just make a few comments. And I'm starting to run out of at least, I'll only be about another 45. Spruce Meadows is a totally unlikely thing to do. It's an unlikely sport, an unlikely place, and we started 40 years ago. I wouldn't think of any of us, Murray, from a business standpoint, would have given much of any opportunity of success when you look at it that way. But it was founded on actually basic family values. The same thing that your mother and father taught you. In these days, these things kind of slide away, and you don't remember it so much. But in your heart and your mind, I think you carry it with you. It's, you don't have to have a lecture on what is the right thing to do in a family. And if you do that in your business or in your sport, which is your business, I think you will find, as the shadows start to lengthen like they do for me now, I think you'll be able to look back with a great deal. It's what is the happiness? We all check out in the end. So what is it that you look back on and feel in here good about? I think what you will find is, sounds like I'm being a preacher now, the things that you learned at your parents' knees that you know are right, and apply that to your relationships with other people, your enterprise and your endeavor. I think you will find that that will give you great satisfaction in your lives. And in a way, I also think it affects your success. A few last things. In running an organization, and an organization can be a rider, a trainer, and an owner, certainly a venue. Judgment that I've been talking about is a fine thing. But it isn't all that uncommon. What is uncommon, and is far rarer, is deep insight. To see what the judgments that you're making today are in fact, in all probability, give you the results that you want in the end. And that takes what I call insight. It's a little different than judgment. I think most of us are pretty good with our judgments. But there's another step there, ladies and gentlemen, that I commend to you, particularly if you're a tournament organizer. Those judgments will affect what the long term is, and you can back that up with what's needed in a BZA for the organizers that you speak to. You need simple plans that are easily communicated to everybody. You need determined execution. And you need a standard of excellence that is so easy to talk about. I spent 3 days in a hotel room coming back from Australia one time, trying to work on my definition of excellence. Maybe you're aware of it. Maybe not. But for me, and I think you may want to look at it this way yourself, excellence is going far beyond what anyone ever thought you would do. Excellence is having the highest standards and always striving for them. Excellence is paying attention to the smallest detail. My gosh, I look out here and I see so many people there. And excellence is caring. If you put all those together and you do it for a period of time in an organization, whether it be a railroad, whether it be a pharmaceutical company, whatever it might be, if you in fact over a period of time have people start to believe that definition of excellence, after a while, maybe it takes as long as a decade or so, you don't have to talk about excellence. Everybody brings excellence as just a matter of the way that they work, the way that they think, to what they do. So I think that what you're doing with the venues, what you're talking about, oh, Devon, and such great tournaments. You know, look at the changes that have happened here. Look at the changes that happen in the other. You are the ones that are stimulating that excellence in them. And I think because they want to. Just like you want to. So I'd leave you with a last thought. In business, we often, and Maria will tell you, many of you know, we often talk about goals or objectives, but sometimes we talk about dreams. People use that, but it's the same. You can have a goal, you can have an objective, and a dream. But a dream is never just a dream. It's a wish to take the things that you love and appreciate and apply them to the world to help to change the world, your world. That's the same in business with a goal or an objective. And I think when you look on that way, you can imagine the organizers for NARG sitting down saying, we've got to find a way to get this improved. A goal, an objective, or a dream. And I believe, ladies and gentlemen, if I was fortunate enough to sit with you 10 years from now, you'll be so happy they did that. Because I think you already see huge progress. And that dream, that goal, that objective will continue to unfold for the total benefit of our sport. Thank you so much again.